Hi everybody and welcome to the next in our series. This session is entitled 5 Features of ActivInspire Teachers Tell Us They Love and Why. In this session we're going to hear from 5 different teachers in the classroom, each highlighting their favourite ActivInspire feature and how they make use of it to promote pupil engagement. Today's presenter is Janice Cranstatter, and on screen now you will see the areas that Janice is going to cover with you. As always with ActivInspire, we will also be showing you extra tips and tricks as we provide examples for the classroom. Okay, Janice, if you'd like to get us started.
Thanks, Sam. In the UK and Ireland, we have a fantastic group of educators who are enthusiastic and knowledgeable users of interactive technologies, and in particular Promethean technologies in education. They are called Premeeting Advocates. For this session, we asked a selection of them to share with us their favourite ActivInspire feature, the one that they feel they couldn't live without, and asked them to share why. After we hear about each of the chosen features, I will provide some examples for use and guidance on how to create using it. So let's see what they shared. So our first feature comes from Lorraine Monroe. She is an early years practitioner working in a primary school in Angus, Scotland. She has very kindly put together a short video to highlight her favourite feature.
My favourite tool with ActivInspire is the website link. I like how you can add a website link to an image or a piece of text, and as you're going through your flip chart, you can click on that image or piece of text and open up the website. Here we are straight to the squirrels here. Very quickly, you can go back to your flip chart again.
There is great value in being able to link to web pages direct from your flip chart. It means that a lesson can be created with all of the links available, all of the things you need for that lesson ready to go in one location. You no longer have to worry about having all of the pages open beforehand, programs, websites, and everything open on your computer to flip between them. All you need to do is click a link directly embedded into your flip chart and it will open up whatever you want to show. There is a variety of ways that web links can be added to a page. This can be done as text, image, action objects, or you can attach it to an existing object on your page. You can always tell when an action has been applied to an object because when I hover over top of it, you'll see on each of these, the little blue play button shows. If I hover over here, you can see it doesn't show because there are no actions attached to these objects. To show you how easy it is, I'm going to add a link to an existing object. So let's have a look on our next page over here. So what I've put together here is a page that demonstrates ways that different links can be added. If we enter design mode, I'm going to come up here to enter design mode, the links I have already made on the page become visible by red outlines. So we can see we've got a text link, an image link, and we've got an action object link as well. Now, action object is great to use when you don't have a separate object to attach to. So for example, this picture is my background page, so it is one big picture. What I didn't want was that whole picture to be the action. So instead, I chose action object, which just gives me this little blank box, and it only appears when I go into design mode. And I could then fit this on a specific part of my page. That way, when I then go back into presentation mode, hovering over the background, I don't get that play button until I hover over where that action object is hidden. Now, as I said, to show you how easy it is, I'm going to add a link to an existing object on the page. So I'm going to add it to this one here. Now, instead of having to go hunt around on a website, because time is always tight in our sessions, I'm just going to go up to page notes here, and I've got the web link that I want to use in my page notes. What I then have to do in my software, once I have that web link copied, is go up to Insert, Link, and then down to Website. And then I just need to paste that into that URL box at the top. As you can see here, this is where I select my option for the different ways that I want to add the link. In this case, I want to attach it to an existing object, so I'm going to tick this radio button. When I do that, the field below becomes available and I can click on the little dot, dot, dot here. What's really great about this is it then shows me all of the objects that I have on this particular page. And I get that little picture next to it, so I know exactly which one I'm looking for and can say, yep, that's the one I want. So I'm making sure that I'm attaching the link to the correct object. And then just click OK to save that. And then click OK again here. And now when I hover over that object, you'll see I have that little play button. And if I click on it, it's then going to launch my web page and take me to that particular website. So as you can see, really quickly and easy to do. I can come back into my flip chart just by clicking on my flip chart icon in my system tray at the bottom here, and we're back onto that flip chart page. Now you may have noticed that there are other options in the link menu here. So I've got file, website, and embedded HTML. I'm going to talk about embedded HTML a little bit later in this session, but just to touch on file. You also have the ability to link to files that you have stored on your computer. So at the bottom here, you might have noticed when I went into design mode that this PDF had an action attached to it. And what I did here is I create an attachment to a worksheet that I created to get my learners to do dealing with this particular lesson that we're working on. I could also link to a video saved on my computer, a Word document, or even another flip chart. And again, what this does is it makes my flip chart a one-stop location for everything that I need to run this particular lesson. So moving on, the second feature we're going to look at was shared by Esther Stevenson. Now Esther is a teacher in a small island school in Shetland. The school itself has 4 teachers and it has 4 classes, and Esther is currently the teacher for the P6 and 7 composite class. The feature that she's chosen to share is actions, and in particular, 2 particular actions, change text value and another page. So let's start with the first one, another page. As the text on the page explains, Esther uses this feature to create a table of contents which links to pages of activities that pupils in her class are able to work through at their own pace in their chosen order over the week. Now that's one way of doing it. But what's really nice, I'm going to show you on the next page, is how I could create a table of contents for, say, a theme of work that we're doing. So instead of having different flip charts for each of the different things that we're going to cover over a unit work, I could have one flip chart, then have my table of contents that will take me to particular pages dealing with different topics. So here is an example of a table of contents that I could have created for navigation through this flip chart. Of course, I probably would have had it at the beginning of the flip chart and not here in the middle. When I click on a heading, it will then jump to a specific page in my flip chart. Now, of course, I want to be able to get back from here to that menu, so I've made another little action object here at the bottom using that another page action to take me back to my table of contents. Clicking on the next heading will take me to a different page, and again, I can click back. Now, using this action is simple. All I need to do is find out the page number that I want to link to. So I'm going to do this one for this one here, embedding YouTube videos. So I'm going to come into my page browser and scroll down to find the page I'm looking for, which is this one, Isabella. And I can see at the top here that I'm looking for page number 22. So going back to that table of contents, I then want to select the object that I want to attach the action to and open up my action browser. So the action, and it's nice because it's all in alphabetical order, so I can see here is another page, and when I select that, you can see that then I can identify the action properties. So all I want to do is type in page 22 here and making sure that I apply the changes. Now, when I click on that heading, it then takes me to Isabella's page. Now, if you notice, I'm in that situation where I want to get back to my table of contents, but I haven't right now. So I could just come in here and flip all the way back. Or what I can do is go to another page where I've set up that link to return to my contents page and copy that onto another page just by picking it up off the flip chart page and dragging it onto the thumbnail. You can now see it's at the bottom of Isabella's page. I can click on that and it takes me back to that table of contents. If you're still unsure about how to set up a page like this yourself, then there is a great active tip on Promethean Planet which covers it. So I've just put the title of it down at the bottom there, so you could go back and have a look and follow that to figure out how to do it yourself. Now I have a short video here where Esther is going to introduce you to her second favorite action, which is change text value.
Another action that I have just come to recently, and now I've started using quite a lot, is the change text value action. Originally, I used this to help children count up and down in multiples according to the tables that they were a bit unsure of. So if they weren't very good with their 7 times table, then I would say a flip chart out with the change text value +7 or -7, where they had to count up and down in sevens. And then I would duplicate that page and change it to go up and down in 8s or 9s, etc. So this is good, and everybody in the class really enjoyed meeting the challenge and trying it out. And then some of the...
So I'm just going to stop us there, and we're just going to have a look on the next page. So down the left-hand side of this page, you can see the example that Esther spoke about in her video. When I click on the up arrow under one of the letters, so I'm going to click on the upwards arrow under 0, you'll notice that the number then counts up. When I click on the downwards arrow, that number will click down in a particular multiple. So how did we put this together? Well, if we go into design mode, just to stop those actions, and I select that little upwards arrow and open up my actions browser, I can then see the action that's applied to that particular object on my page. So we can see that the target, so my target is the one that is going to be the action object, is text 1. So if I click on that little dot, 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 we can see here that text 1 is 18. In this case, it was 0 at the beginning of the page, but now that I've changed up, it's at 18. So I can just click OK. And the text is +6. So what that means is that when I click this, I want to increase that number by a multiple of 6 each time. The same applied for the downward facing arrow, although this time I say that I want it to subtract 6 each time. So it's important that you, if you use this, make sure that you put in that plus and the number with no space in between. And if we go back, we can now see that when I click on that, we're going down in multiples of 6, we're going up in multiples of 6. So what I could do to my class is I could get them to look at it and say, okay, can you tell me what multiple we're working at? See if they could guess that. And then we could start to say, we're on 12. What number would we be at after 2 clicks of the upwards arrow? And see if my class can come up with the answer and then move to find that out. So there's various ways that we can use this, but really nice for looking at multiples of and getting started with our times table. Another way that an action can be used is to change a word. So for example, on the right side of the page, I have a lesson where my class are learning about plural. This time I have identified the target as the original word. So let's have a look. We'll go in. I'm going to select strawberry. And so the target, when I have a look at it, we can see it's text number 12 is strawberry. I'm just going to click OK. And the text that I want to change it to is the plural, which is strawberries. And I need to just make sure I apply the changes. So now when I go back in and I click on strawberry, We can see that strawberries is what it changes to. We could then use our annotation tool to talk about the changes. So for this one, when we have a Y, in order to make a plural, we drop the Y and we put I-E-S on the end. Okay. Show you the next one, apple changes to apples, and again, you can see how that works in the action properties down here. Okay, I hope that that's given you a few ideas on those two actions, very nice ones to use. Now our next feature was shared by Sarah Wright. She is a classroom teacher in St. Helens and also a senior lecturer for a large active expression project for trainee teachers at Edge Hill University. The feature she is going to talk about is Magic Ink.
Hi, my name's Sarah Wright. I'm a Year 4 teacher at Longton Lane Primary School in St Helens, and I'm also working with Edge Hill University as a senior lecturer in active expression. Magic Ink and Magic Erasers are some of my favourite features of ActivInspire. Both have got endless possibilities, but the key thing for me is that they really make you think about how and when information is presented and revealed to the children. Magic Ink inspires that wow moment in the classroom where children actively look for hidden items or just enjoy seeing things revealed. It's also a great time saver, meaning I don't have to stop the flow of a lesson to write in an answer or flip a page, I can just reveal it. In my lessons, Magic Ink helps me control my pace. For example, lower ability children might have content revealed to them in bite-sized chunks, whereas for higher ability learners, an extension activity or challenge may be revealed later on in the lesson. Magic Ink and Erasers allow me to prepare everything I need on one page rather than having to flip between several, for example, adding answers to questions that can be revealed, extra images or even extra tasks for later on. It really does add that extra layer of preparation by allowing me to personalise the learning of several groups in the class. But the wow moment should never be underestimated. Just by allowing children to reveal an extra image or answer can have a huge and massively positive effect on engagement.
Okay, so a great explanation of sharing her feature there from Sarah. So this page here shows an example of Magic Ink being used as described in Sarah's audio clip. For this task, learners come to the board and label the diagram. So they could do this by picking up the pen and they could annotate on the page, okay, which is much easier to do at the board with a pen, or they could use the text and they could text in an idea. Okay, and then once they've got their labels on there, we can check to see if they're correct by going into our tools and selecting Magic Ink. And then we can rub out the label behind to see if we got the correct answer. And as you can see, I didn't do very well today. So how this works is that the text, the hidden text, so the correct answers, sit in the middle layer of the software. The yellow shapes are on the top layer of the software. Now, when you put a shape onto your page, it will automatically default to the middle layer. But if I select an object and go into the Edit menu, I can move that object to any layer that I want. So in this case, I'm going to move it to the top layer. So it's now on the top layer. So you would want to do that with all of your shapes. Magic Ink only works on items that are on the top layer. So that means when I open my Magic Ink, it will only erase the box on the top and not the text which sits in the middle layer underneath. Okay, so a great way of getting them to check their work and make sure that they're leaving the lesson knowing the correct answer. I can also use Magic Reveal tools to the same effect. So in this case, the teacher has asked them to identify from the pattern what numbers are missing. So they could use their active expressions to text in their ideas or put up their hand or write it down on a piece of paper. And then they can use the Magic Revealer, the magnifying glass, to check if they got the correct answer. We just scroll over top and it reveals the correct answer. So very effective. Now you can make your own magic reveal tools, and there's a great active tip on Promethean Planet that covers how to do this. But if you want a little bit of time saving, what you can also do is make use of some of the fantastic user-created magic revealer tools that can be downloaded and saved into your resource library. And this particular one here is a selection from a resource pack that was created by Planet member Cal Hathaway. And you can see that we've got some great ideas that he put together. You can see how they work, showing that text that I have hidden on the page and the images that I have hidden on the page. So on Promethean Planet, all you need to do is search for magic revealers, and it'll bring up a variety of flip charts and resource packs with these tools that other users have shared. But the magic ink doesn't just need to be used to reveal a correct answer. It can also be used to guide the learner or create discussion, like in this example. So behind the green rectangle on my page is a picture. Okay, so it's hidden behind there. And the teacher wanted to get discussion going about the picture. So to do that, using magic ink, they rubbed out a little bit of the picture, so only revealing a small bit of the picture just to get the discussion started. So for example, we could say, so girl, she's on her way somewhere, she's got water in her hand and she's got a bag behind her. So where do you think she's going? What do you think she's up to? And start canvassing that discussion, start canvassing those ideas from her class and getting that discussion to see where they are in their thinking. As the lesson progresses, we can slowly reveal more and more of the picture. Okay, so a little bit more going on behind there. We can rub out over here, there's some more people. So we can start to get them to revise their thinking. Has their ideas changed of what's going on? And again, it's just getting that discussion, stimulating it, getting them talking until eventually we can reveal the whole page and identify exactly where it is and what's happening. Okay, but a really great way of getting them talking, and that whole idea of every picture tells a story, but sometimes we only see a very small part of the picture and make judgments on it, and remembering that it's always important to look at it fully. Now this is kind of a primary example, but it would be very good idea for using for source information with older children. So starting them out to discuss about how much value you would place on that image, how much value, how much of the story does it actually tell you. Here's another example created by a secondary teacher for a lesson on pH scale. So they've made a little reveal tool themselves here, and they can slide that along the pH scale where they can start to talk about where things would sit on it. Okay, so various ways that page can be used, but again, that idea of creating their own little revealer. A magic revealer can also be used to look through one picture to another behind. Great for demonstrating before and after. Or in this case, we could use it to look through the top layer, the outer layer of, or the outside of a heart to find out exactly what is in the heart in the center and how it works. So again, just another way to get their attention and engage them in the lesson at hand. Sorry, again, if you want to find out more about magic ink and how it can be used, there are two great active tips available on Promethean Planet that discuss these tools. So you can see there's one called Instructional Examples, it's Magic Ink Instructional Examples, and Magic Ink Need to Know. The next feature was shared by Isabella Loegio, and she is a computing specialist teacher in Westminster, London. She's also an independent trainer on Promethean solutions. The feature that Isabella finds always gets a wow in her sessions is the ability to embed YouTube videos using HTML. Now don't panic. I know it sounds complicated, but it's actually very easy to do in ActivInspire. As you can see on the page, she likes that this allows her to make use of some of the fantastic videos found on YouTube without having to worry about inappropriate ads and comments being seen by her learners. So I've just put this together more as information for you if you want to try and do this. So the 2 pages side by side, this one covers what you need to do on YouTube and then what you need to do in the flip chart to embed it. So let's start with YouTube. But I think the best way to show this is to actually go to YouTube and find a video. We're just going to go to YouTube, and I always have this problem where my YouTube is hidden behind. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to type in here, keeping with our holiday theme this week, Dem Bones. And I'm going to look for a little video. Okay. So I'm going to choose this one here. And I'm just going to pause that because I don't actually want to play it. What I want to do is I want to capture the embed code to be able to use. So to do that, I need to go to Share and then Embed. And you'll see that the embed code is here. So before I select this, I can choose the video size. Now I like to use the 640 by 480 because I find that that fits in nicely onto my flip chart pages. And the other thing that Isabella suggested, which is a really great tip, is to deselect this here that says show suggested videos when the video finishes. I don't want that. They don't need to see anything else afterwards. And what I can then do is copy that embed code. Okay, and that's simply all that I need to do from YouTube. So now I'm going to go back into the flip chart, and this is where we're going to follow the instructions about embedding it within our software. So again, much easier just to actually show you, and you can look back to that in your own time. So I want to go up to Insert, Link, and then down to Embed HTML. And all I'm going to do is paste in that embed code into that box. Okay, now there's one little tweak that I have to do with this. So in your embed code, you'll notice that I've got a quotation marks, backslash, backslash, and then the web address, www.youtube.com. So what I need to do is just in between that quotation mark and those 2 backslashes, I just need to type in HTTP and colon. Okay, so that's how it would appear if it was in the web address of a web page. And then click OK. And once I do that, you'll see I now have that on my page, and there's a little preview of the video. I could then select that and pick that up and move it to where I want it on the page. I like to make it a little bit bigger so I don't have the scroll bars either. And then all I need to do in my lesson is click, and that video will play. Now, one thing to be aware of is that YouTube will still give you on some videos these little advertisements, but all I can do is just close it down, and then it won't appear again in the playing of that video. Okay, if I then turn away from this page and turn back again, you'll see that that video is still embedded in there looking the way I want it to look. Now, there are a couple of things just to be aware of when embedding HTML. If for any chance that video gets moved on YouTube, then the link will break and you'll have to put it in again. You just need to be aware of that it's not actually sitting on your computer in your software. It links to the website. I'm just allowing it to play in my flip chart instead of having to launch that website like we did with our web links at the beginning. The other thing to be aware of is that it will only work if YouTube is allowed on your network system in school. So if you're not able to watch YouTube videos, this won't work for you because it just won't open that video to be able to play it. Okay, so just 2 really important points to remember about that. Now, just to finish up, our last feature was shared by Nolene Leakey, who is a post-geography teacher in Selbridge, County Kildare in the Republic of Ireland. The feature she can't live without is also one of my favorites, the translucency slider. As you can see on the screen, she feels that it can have a real impact on her students by clearly showing changes in a location before and after a process. It is a great way to stimulate discussion and delve deeper into her learners' understanding of geography-related topics. Here is an example of a lesson that Nolene provided as an example. To stimulate discussion on the topic, the class can experience very visually how the landscape would change if grazing occurs extensively in one area. So I just select the top photo and I can just use that translucency slider to reveal it behind. Okay, so we could use this to initiate a great discussion on an aspect of nomads' lives and their livelihood as well, and talk about protecting the environment. To take this a step further, I could use the pen tool, and we could have actually annotated on top of it first. So we could say, okay, here we've got some bushes, and down here we've got some grasses. Annotate on top, and then again, this time when I use my translucency slider, you'll see that my annotations remain. So we can really quickly see what aspects of that image has changed. Here is another geography example. In this lesson, taken from Promethean Planet, the class are looking at types of land use in an urban area. First, they have marked it up using the shape tool, so we can see the different types of land use by the shapes and the colors that they've selected. The photo can then be moved to the top layer, so again using my object edit, move it to the top layer, and then we could use that translucency slider to reveal the shapes underneath. Okay, so a really, really great way of having a look at the different types of land use in this urban area. Like all of the features shown, transparency can be used in any subject lesson for any topic. Now, I made this page up myself using images from my family, but I got the idea from a great lesson that a friend told me, where a teacher used personal photographs of her family to demonstrate inherited traits. So here I have a picture of my husband, and underneath a picture of my child. And when I change the transparency of my husband's face, you can very quickly see that there is no doubt that Ethan is my husband's child. So we can see how closely those features, particularly those eyes, merge together from one to the other. So a really, really nice way of showing that. Now, a bit worryingly is when we look at me, you can see Ethan doesn't actually have a lot of my features, but I definitely know he is mine. Well, that is the last example that I have for today's session. I want to thank the 5 teachers for taking the time to share their favorite ActivInspire feature. I hope that all of the examples shown today give you some ideas on how they can be used in your lessons. Now, just to finish up, I'm going to pass you back to Sam.
Thank you, Janice. So just to sum up, once again, Janice has shown us lots of fantastic things that can be done within the ActivInspire software. And she also highlighted some relevant active tips throughout the session. All of these can be found on Promethean Planet or on YouTube. They're great for learning how to create and use individual features of our software. There's lots of support for using your software can be found through Promethean Planet via the forums, the resources, or the professional development areas. The help files can also be accessed through your ActivInspire software and is another great place to look. Now, this side of the academic year, we have 3 more sessions that we're running during this term. So if you haven't already registered, you can do so at the link at the bottom of this page or by clicking it in the playlist on your YouTube channel. If you do have any further questions about these sessions or ideas for the future, do please feel free to contact us at the addresses displayed on screen. And finally, all the titles in this series of webinars were created in collaboration with Babcock Education and reflect requests identified by those teachers. Thank you very much for listening.